Welcome to Rods and Reels today. I'm Whitey Outlaw. Today we're going to be doing some crappie fishing on Santee Cooper, the upper lake, Lake Marion. And we're fishing in the Jacks Creek area today out of Carolina King. So go with us and see what we do, and maybe you'll learn a few techniques and see what Santee has to offer. Santee Cooper used to be one of the best lakes on the East Coast at one time. And it's still, to me, one of the best because I live on it and it's got so much to offer. It's got green cypress trees on the upper end to fish. And on further up, you got the swamp, which is where I like to fish, the swamp a lot. And you got dead trees below 95. You got open water like you have here. You got sloughs, guts, ditches, creeks. Lake Marion has got more to offer than any other lake that I've ever fished, and I fish all over the country. I mean, we go from down south in Florida all the way to the Mississippi Delta, from the Delta all the way into Alabama, Missouri, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. I ain't run across nothing like that, like anywhere like this yet. I mean, this is just a super good lake. I started fishing on Santee with my grandfather years ago. I'm about 50 years old now. And he had one of the second or third houses on Santee Cooper down here on what they call Scott's Lake. It's right before you go under the 95 bridge off to the right, off to the left, I'm sorry. And that was always the river camp for the whole family. And then my mother and father had a house over on Stump Hole. But I've been on this lake ever since I was a kid, so I guess I started fishing this lake in the 60s. Big enough just to hold a cane pole, fish off the bank or out the back of the boat with my grandfather and them. But I fished all over the country. Like I said, nothing compares to this lake. This is the best lake in the United States as far as I'm concerned. But we've been fishing it with my grandfather. We run trot lines on it as a kid, brim fished, shell cracker, catfish, bass. You know, I got some nice bass on the wall, and I've never thrown a bass plug in my life. Never thrown a bass plug in my life. I got some go anywhere from 10 to 13.5 pounds been caught crappie fishing. So the fish of all kind are here. Plenty of fish, good fish. The difference between crappie fishing and bass fishing is I ain't as tired at the end of the day as these bass guys because they always throwing and whining, throwing and whining. We put out 8 rods, or either we fish with 1 rod. Depends on if we're fishing in the swamp, we fish with 1 rod. You know, jigging in the grass or cypress trees out of a flat bottom boat. And I mean, that's how we come up, 12-foot flat bottom boat. And we've graduated into this, you know, 22-foot Ranger, fishing with 8 rods out the front. And the only reason I use the 8 rods is in competition, 8 rods is better than 1. And you know, if you got a guy fishing with 1 rod, a guy fishing with 8, he's gonna beat you 9 times out of 10. So we fish, you know, competitively out of big boats with a lot of rods. But back here, I like a flat bottom boat and a jig pole, one-on-one. That's just my deal. I like it. But the crappie fishing has revolved from a 12-foot flat bottom boat, 9.9 motors, to 22-foot Rangers, 250 horse motors, and you know, used to be cane poles and metal minnow buckets. Now it's graphite rods, you know, and let me tell you, if you're going crappie fish, the equipment's got a lot to do with how you do end up at the end of the day. If your equipment is sorry, most time you're gonna have a sorry fishing trip. You got stuff broke down, stuff that ain't gonna hold. But with B&M rods, they've been in the business of making pan fishing poles for over 70 years. And I mean, with a reputation like that, you can't beat it. And then also here in Clarendon County, the best rod holders in the country. Driftmaster Rod Holders is built right there, Black River Tool. You can go see David Banyard and his wife and his father, and they can rig up your boat, your pontoon, your flat bottoms, your big boats. They can rig up anything you want. So, I mean, you know, the product is online, Humminbird, you know, Minn Kota trolling motors, B&M poles, Vicious fishing line, anything you can go online and get to make your fishing trip more enjoyable, more productive. And you know, you can go on my website and look and hit a link on all of these sponsors I just mentioned, and you can order direct from these guys, and all of them will talk to you and tell you what you need and what they, you know, suggest what you need. So. What we're using today is 16-foot BGJPs built by B&M. Using a double rig minnow rig, as you can see right here. Untangle that scuttle. This is the kind of fishing that is not for a guy with no patience. Can you see that right there? 3-way swivel and 2 hooks. Some people call that the Kentucky rig. Why, I don't know. I guess they invented it and come out of Kentucky, but I use it on Santee, so I call it the Santee rig. Or our rig. See, we fish, the depth there is 5.7, you know, 5.5 foot. We ain't fishing just very shallow for this time of year. But the water's 52 degrees. I won the Alabama State Championship 2 years back to back. And that's been kind of a proud moment in my career. And I've been like second and third at the Classic 2 or 3 times. But as far as big fish, Santee Cooper rates as good as any of them until you get down to the Delta in Mississippi. They got a lake down there called Grenada. It's nothing uncommon to catch 3-pound fish down there, you know, 2 or 3 a day. A 3-pound crappie is a big fish. But Santee's got them. We caught several here last year. As you can see, we got all 8 poles out now, and they're all pretty much in line with each other. And the reason they're in line like that, because even with the sun shining on them, if something's out of whack, I can just glance with my eye. If one's down or up too high or whatever, I can pick it out. And we ain't fishing but about 5 foot deep in about 5.5, 6 foot of water. And hopefully it'll pay off for us here soon. But everything is set the same, and that's so when you sitting here looking, you can, I mean, anything out of place, that can be a bite, that can be a fish that's picked up on that bait or running to the side with it or what have you. But the Driftmaster rod holders, you see, hold them steady. And they make different kinds. They make them with the T-bar that come up with 1 pipe and 4 rod holders, and that's fine. But the only thing I don't like about them is when one fish hits, they all shake. As you notice, I just shake that pole there, the rest of them stay the same. And we've run tests on that thing over the years. And with these particular rod holders from Driftmaster, it increases our bites probably about 15%, maybe a little more on some lakes and some days. So do check out Driftmaster rod holders. This is a 16-foot pole, so that's 16 foot that way, 16 foot that way, and you got 3 foot in the middle. So do the math, you're covering a pretty good swipe of water. And you can adjust them up and down. And another thing too, we like to keep the boat level. I mean, when you got it level, you ain't got no rod tips in the water like that. So when we're fishing in a tournament, I'll be sitting on this side of the boat and my partner will be sitting here, and we're fishing, and I'll take care of 4 rods and he'll take care of 4. So, but I don't mind running 8 by myself. I enjoy running 8. I mean, if I'm gonna fish with all of them. Now, sometimes them big catfish will mess you up. They'll hit one, tangle up everything, but that's fishing. Oh man. Man, we're gonna tangle up everything we got. Oh. Let's see what he does here. He done got that tangled up. Let's see what it is. I think I know. Come on here. God, dog, catfish. Look at it. Can you see him? Let me see if I can get the net and get on here. Come on here, big fish. I can't get him in the net. Can't get him in the net. Oh yeah, we got him. Crappie fishing and catfishing at the same time, Bubba. Look at my mess, but we got him. Oh no. What do you reckon he weighs? Ooh, let me get him off your bag. Crappie fishing and cat fishing. You never know what you catch on Sandy Cooper. Break down and tie them all up with all that stuff while you're out here fishing. So I always just pre-tie them. Oh. Well, no, it's a crappie. Look at it. Where's my net right quick? Where's my net right quick? Uh-oh, come on back. Come on back. Oh. All right, let me move this pole out of the way. Yeah. Now that right there is as good a Lake Marion crappie as you want. That fish there is about 2 pounds. Get that out of the way. Out of Lake Marion, Clarendon County. Some people call them speck, some call them sockeye. Down in the south, we call them crappies. Not crappie, but crappies. Put him in the live well, we might eat him tonight. There's a little secret we figured out years ago. It don't get hung up and it don't get tangled up too bad. It'll slide over all your structure and stuff. Log chain. You ever seen anybody use that as a boat anchor? You take that log chain and drop it out and tie it and just let so much of it drag the ground to get the speed that you want. You know what I'm saying? But the log chain, it won't hang up in those stumps and it'll stop. It'll hold this boat in 25-mile-an-hour wind dead still if you throw the whole chain out, but always just let just a little bit of it drag. We looked for years for something that we could use, and this is what we come up with. All right, the wind has got up a little bit. It's blowing, the newsman says about 17, 18 mile an hour today. So we've had to put our log chain out to slow us down on our fishing, keep from going too fast. You don't want to go too fast because you go too fast and get them lines like a 45 slanted back, you're going a little bit too fast. And you want them lines, you're pretty much vertical fishing, but you just got them straight down and you got that double rig with both minnows sticking back and you lay it up here. You're just fishing slow, but you don't want them lines slanted too far back because you'll be going too fast. And another thing about crappie fishing, you don't want to fish too deep. You watch your electronics and find out where the fish is in the water column. And that's where you want to fish. You want to keep your baits above that, because most of the time a crappie won't feed down. He's always looking up, so he's going to feed up. So that's something else to keep in mind. You know, don't fish too deep, because a lot of times if you do, you'll be fishing below the fish, and they're not looking down, because the way their eyes are set in their head, they're facing up. So the crappie is always going to feed up. So keep that in mind when you're crappie fishing. Garfish. If you don't break my line, I'll get him back and let you get a picture of him. Yeah. He's gonna wrap. Yes, sir. Santee swordfish. God almighty. You talk about stink. Here's some stinking devils down there. Golly. You don't want him, do you? That's Santee swordfish. And what we do in here also is we just in a big flat. There's a few stumps under the water, and we just fishing along, and every now and then we'll get to one of them stumps and we'll catch a fish here and there, and catching catfish, garfish, crappie. We catching a little bit of everything. We're using live bait, so you're bound to catch a little bit of everything. But these fish are in these flats. They just scattered out and getting ready to go to the bank when the water temperature gets right. You know, when it gets into high 50s, you know, 57, 58, 62 to 65, along in there, they can go. And the thing about these little pockets, they're off the main lake, they'll warm up quicker than the main lake. So the back of these places, around the corners and stuff, back there where the water and the sun's shining, them fish can move pretty early. You give it another 2 weeks, it's gonna really get good. There you go, that's a crappie. No, that's a bass. Look at that. You got him on film? Why did you cut up the... Them fellas, they like to watch him flap now. Santee's full of these. Where you at, Hoop? How clean and healthy that fish is. The water quality of Santee Cooper is good. Gets better all the time. Ain't no sores on that fish nowhere. Can you see him out there? Put a net on him. Something like that. Uh-oh. Another nice Santee slab. Hope y'all learned a little something today. We're fishing on Santee Cooper in the Jacks Creek area. I'm Whitey Outlaw. Thank y'all for watching Rods and Reels.